All right, Sunday, AAA Hobbies, Magnolia, New Jersey, doing a little working on the railroad. We're going to take an easy route today and do something fun that is detail oriented, so I'm not going to be crawling around all over the layout. I'm going to sit here and put decals on this building. This is one of the business Merchants Row buildings that I did, and the Merchants Row building comes with a sheet of decals like this, and you can kind of pick out which decals you want to go on which building depending on how you paint it, and you can use the box as a guide to show you where they put the decals. So as far as materials to do this job, you're going to need some water, obviously water, because they're water transfer decals. You dip them in the water, they slide off. A little bit of decal set. This is Walther's decal set that softens the decal and makes it adhere to the detail on the building. I keep some of these little Tamiya, for lack of a better word, Q-tip kind of devices on hand. They come in different shapes. I find these are good for putting a little bit of the decal fluid on there or pushing decals down. You'll need an X-Acto knife and a metal straight edge to cut your decals out, and paper towels to sop up the water, sop up the decals, film setting solvent. I also brought over, a pack of Woodland Scenic dry transfer decals, and we may use some of those also. Figured have a little extra. So that's what it is. We're going to sit down, decal this building, and as I do it, I'll show you some of the technique, and then we'll look at it when it's done. I've looked at the building, I've looked at my decals, and they kind of have suggestions, and I think what I'm going to do for this video to show you guys, I'm going to take one of these really big decals, this big pizzeria sign, and put it right on the side of the building here, because this will be the pizzeria. There's a little sign that I'll put in the window, but we'll take this really big one and stick it right on the side of the building. So the first thing I do is I take my metal edge, and I like to cut the decal as close as I can to the edge so that I don't have a lot of film around it. I just go around the decal very carefully with this straight edge, cut it out. It's X-Acto knife, we all know to be careful with those, hopefully. And once I cut this out, I'm going to take it off the sheet. And the ultimate goal is to have this decal right here on the side of the building. I'll take it, dip it down into my water, and we'll leave it sit there for about 30 seconds. Alright, so my decal's been in here for a little bit. I'll take it out, and I just kind of move it around on the paper to make sure it's loose. And it is. What I do is I take a little bit of water, I wet a paper towel like this, put a little bit of water where I'm going to put the decal on the building. You can even use your finger. And then I take the decal, slide her off of the paper. Let me get it started. Put it right into the position where we want it. Make sure it's square. Oops. And if it doesn't position really well, you can take a little bit of water on your finger and just tap it on there, and it'll help it slide around a little bit. Take my knife and just do the final. And be careful doing it with a knife, because you could tear the decal. But okay, so and it pays to be a little bit detail oriented here just to get it right. So I put the decal on the side of the building. I take a little wet paper towel and I just kind of press it down carefully so I don't move the decal. But what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get the water out or any air bubbles out from underneath of the decal. And once I'm happy with that, I'll look it over. Once you're happy with that, then you take the decal solvent, the Walther's decal setting solution, and you just put a little bit of it around the edges of the decal so it flows under and on top. What this does is it flows underneath and it softens the decal up so it conforms down to the surface. So that's water slide decals. I showed you how to put a water slide decal on the side of the building here. And I've gone ahead and I've done a lot of the water slide decals on the front of the building. As you can see on the different buildings, they all have names now. This is what really adds personality to your buildings. So what I'm going to show you now really quickly is if you want to use, these are Woodland Scenics dry transfers. And as opposed to a water slide decal, the dry transfer you put on and then burnish down and peel off. And you'll see what I mean when I do this really quickly.
Go.
I took this marking here, it says Route 66 Diner, and I cut it out of the sheet. And as you can see, I positioned it right over the doorway here. I'm gonna put a little pressure on it with my fingers just to kind of stick it down a little bit because there's adhesive on the back of the sticker. Then I'm gonna take a tool, and what you want is a soft tool to burnish this down. Some people use a dull pencil. I like to use a tongue depressor or a popsicle stick because it's got a nice flat surface, and I just rub and rub. All right. And when I see that it's down, I just peel up the paper, the clear, and there you have it. And it's that simple. No water, no decal setting solution. You just burnish them down and right on there. So as you can see, we've got a really nice selection of names, and we've given, you know, each little store its own little personality. And then we're going to put it back on the layout and do the other buildings this way.
Go.
So let's put it back on the layout and see how it looks. Boy, it looks a lot different than it did before. Now we have some real, it jumps, it has real personality now. Got this big sign on the side, really jumps out at you. And like I say, we'll do that for the other buildings as well. And that way we'll have this whole town area done.